1. The stance from closing government is pretty clear. Emphasizing importance of science is fine. We should do it actively. But fundamental denial of all religion transgresses the boundary as it exacerbates division and polarization. This is where we draw the line, and this is why we oppose the new atheism. Based on this stance, I would like to introduce two extensions. Firstly, new atheism undermines moderate discourse around religious controversy, which directly clashes with open opposition. Secondly, new atheism hurts the most vulnerable people who need and believe in religious remedy. Rebuttals will be incorporated into each extension. So firstly, new atheism undermines moderate discourse around religious controversy. Due to radicality of new atheism, moderate discourse on religious issues are systematically shut down. Public dialogue is too much polarized right now, the phenomenon of which damages the progress of religion. There are two steps of an analysis. Number 1, spectrum of believers. We analyze who are the believers right now. There are conservative believers, liberal believers, but vast majority of believers are moderate believers who are willing to engage with a rational discussion with regards to multiple problems, and moderate believers are willing to rectify and change the following problems. For example, child molestation in Catholic Church, honor killing in Pakistan in many other parts of the world, use of contraception or the ban of contraception to prevent HIV/AIDS, or rights of LGBT or gay marriage in the United States of America, or wearing burqa in France. Moderate believers and leaders are now willing to change and deal with these problems because there is an internal discussion about it. There is a positive trend. The scholars in academia or madrasa propose a countervailing view to challenge the tradition, and Pope, Imam, and religious leaders are becoming more progressive right now. On second level, however, new atheism destroys this positive trend. The unique nature of new atheism and the fundamental core tenet is the fundamental denial of all religion, which is different from what open opposition described. The emphasizing importance of religion is not the core part of new atheism. The core part of new atheism is more militant, destructive, and offensive in order to deny the existence of religious institutions. Thereby, once radical new atheists, such as Richard Dawkins, criticize religious problems, the believers in religious institutions become too much defensive, and they are less likely to engage with critiques and open discussions about their internal problems. That is why people like Richard Dawkins is criticized even in scientific community and academia right now. What's more, pious believers regard new atheists' critique as a declaration of war and hate speech, thereby try to retaliate with even more violent and radical methods, such as terrorism, which directly clashes with open opposition with regards to jihad. Can you really stop jihad by fundamentally criticizing and denying the existence of God? The consequence is the opposite. People are far more likely to retaliate with a violent way in order to shut down discourse. Do you remember the newspaper company in France was attacked by a radical institution? And those are the kind of consequences by too much attacking religious institution or more political lobbying, just like a Christian institution was doing for Republican Party in United States with regards to gay marriage, or more negative campaign. That is the consequence. Why this is important in this debate? Number 1, the victims of religious problems are not safe, as incidents will be covered up and concealed even more when you attack them rather than trying to moderately engage with them. We need open and active discussion upon how to help them out. Society as a whole needs to address it, but new atheisms it destroys such an open debate opportunity. Moving on to the second extension. Before that, I would like to take point of information from closing opposition. If you can do it later. I will take it anyway. So second extension. New atheism hurts the most vulnerable people who need and believe in religious remedy. Several levels of analysis. Number 1, the most vulnerable people need to rely on religion. Victims of natural disaster who lose everything, house and family members. The person who lost her son in car accidents, for example. In Japan, A tsunami hit and destroyed many people's lives. The only thing for victims to rely on is religion. Yes, religion could be inaccurate, non-scientific, superstitious. However, it is the source of energy and motivation for these victims to restart their life. Whether science logically explains the phenomena does not matter to these victims, which attacks the premise of open opposition. On second level, what happens when new atheism severely criticizes religion? I will take point from open opposition. Go ahead.
I think that vulnerables from natural disaster does only have a religion as a part of their motivation, but if you consider about how people might be vulnerable about radicalization and could be non-vulnerable but can be affected through it.
Okay, I will make that comparison later. Thank you for pointing out. But let me explain this first. What happens when new atheists severely criticize religion? How do these vulnerable people and victims feel? Their life is fundamentally denied again. This is a double punishment. Only source of motivation is now fundamentally insulted. This disproportionate psychological consequence and harm is unacceptable. This consequence is different from just emphasizing the importance of science, right? Yes, we can simultaneously emphasize the importance of science without attacking the source of motivation for the victims of natural disaster and tragedy. Therefore, we believe this is the exclusive harm, which is intrinsic to new atheism. Right? Let's make a comparison. The psychological harm that I have explained is exclusive and unique to new atheism, but the benefits proposed by open opposition is not necessarily exclusive to new atheism. We can do that by just emphasizing the logical aspect of science without necessarily attacking them. Yes, we should criticize the religious problems, but we should do it in a more moderate manner. That's what's already happening even inside religious institutions. Therefore, the rise of new atheism undermines and destroys this positive trend. We are happy to propose. Thank you.